Welcome everyone, my name's Todd. I'm the founder of Ashaya Yoga, and this is Asana Spotlight. So every Tuesday at 12 noon, we take 20 minutes to do a little mini yoga sequence and flow, and I'm going to focus on one pose. The pose today is called Agnistambhasana. Agnistambhasana. Agni is fire, and Stamba is log. It's the fire log pose. This is an amazing hip opener pose. When you can go into this pose, the hip flexors open, the low back opens, the legs open, and the pelvic floor widens. It's really, really good for just all the general movements that we do with our hips, which is, walking and even sitting and doing all kinds of movement, and it's going to help keep us mobile. Now, it's a very challenging pose, so we're going to need some props. Preferably if you have a couple of blankets to sit up on, that will be great. And we're going to do a couple warm-ups first, so come to a standing position at your mat. In front of your mat, bring your feet hip distance apart, palms in front. Inhale, deep breath, rise up, and then exhale, lead with your heart, and fold. First pose, Uttanasana here, is a little warm-up for the backs of the legs. Lift and spread your toes, hug muscles to bones, and then isometrically try to pull your heels backwards. Isometrically pull back. Pull your ribs in, draw your tailbone down, and bow a little bit more. Keep your legs engaged, extend your heart forward halfway, and then exhale and bow. Inhale, imagine your breath, we're stoking the fire of the Agni. Inhale halfway forward, exhale, bow. In Tantra, we talk about fire as the fire of transformation, the fire of our longing for freedom or longing to thrive and have a great life. So keep that alive in your heart. Exhale, left leg back into lunge. Bring your left knee down to the floor. Walk your hands out to the left. We're going to come down slowly, as best you can, onto the forearms. And breathe. Hug your legs. Take your thigh bones back. Just stick your butt out behind you. And draw your tailbone in. Inhale, come back up to center. Step back, downward facing dog pose. Alternately, press one heel down, then the other. Bicycle your legs back and forth. Separate your feet a little wider. Bend your knees a lot, more than you normally would. And then inner rotate your thighs. Lift your sitting bones real high. Hug your shins. Push your sitting bones apart, sitting bones wide. Also, claw your hands. Lift your armpits. Melt your heart. And breathe. Try to create a lower back curve, so lift your sitting bones even more. And then gradually, from your heart, push down through your hands, and from your heart, root your heels. And stretch. We want to get more of the back of the legs to open up. Exhale, right foot forward. Okay, very good. Feel how open this side is already. Go back, downward dog pose. Exhale, left foot forward. Notice the difference. And then bring your right knee down to the floor. Walk your hands out about 45 degrees. Forearms toward the floor or on the floor if you can. You can put your forearms on blocks if you can't reach. Hug your legs. Stick your butt way back. Tailbone in. And breathe. Try to bring yourself to the edge of the tension of the stretch. So as much as you can tolerate, be there without force and without extreme pain. A little discomfort is allowed, but we don't want to shock the body. But continue now to stretch. Melt your heart toward the floor even more. Pelvis toward the floor even more. And then Release, come up, go back to downward dog. One more little prep pose. Exhale, right foot to the left of center between your hands. And then roll onto the little toe edge of your right foot. Bring your left knee all the way down. Walk your hands over to the left and bend forward a bit. Stick your butt way back behind you. And try to bring your right sitting bone down to the floor. Easy does it. If this feels like it's just too much stretch for you, then decrease the angle of the front foot. So you bring your front foot towards the left hip. Try to get your right hip to descend to the floor before your right knee comes down. Then, if you're close, square your hips to the front, put your left hand in the sole of the right foot, and just push your foot into your hand. You should feel lots of sensation now on the right hip. Curl your left toes under, hug your shin. Awesome. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog pose. Again, note the difference between right and left sides. Exhale, left foot to the right of center. And then lower your left knee. Walk your hands out to the right. Turn your thighs and in and stick your butt way out. Left hip down to the floor. You can bring your right knee down to make it a little bit easier. Continue to widen left hip and see if you can bring your left hip down to the floor before the left knee. Square your hips to the front, right hip forward, left hip back. Right hand in the sole of the left foot, and then just push your foot into your hand. And breathe. From your pelvis, root into the floor and back through the right heel. And then from your pelvis, you just push your left foot and your left shin forward isometrically. And that really increases the stretch. Take a big breath and then exhale. Very good. Step back to downward dog pose. Step into Uttanasana pose, forward bend. And then root down through your feet. Sweep your arms out to the side. Come all the way up. And exhale. Release. Bend your knees. Take a few steps. So it's a quick hip opener, but that's the preparation for Agnistambhasana fire log pose. Get your props. So you can have 2 stacked blankets like this, or maybe 3, okay, or maybe nothing. And here's how you tell that you can sit cross-legged just like this. And if you can pull the low back in and you feel the spinal processes disappear, then perhaps you don't need to sit up. But if you don't, if this is difficult and your back goes into flexion, it rounds, it's not safe for the vertebrae to sit that way. And for the discs start to actually get pushed towards the back where the nerve roots are, and then that creates pain. So we want to elevate the hips. Okay, bring your left shin straight out in front, and here's Agnistambhasana. Bring your right ankle to your left knee. Flex your right foot, curl the toes back. Manually turn the right thigh in. And then place your hands down by your sides. Lift your hips. Turn both thighs in. Stick your butt way out. Both feet are flexed. And you put your hands in the soles of your feet like this. So this is the shape of the pose anyway. And if you can't hear me because your right knee is in your ear, then elevate your hips more. Okay? When your the top rim of your pelvis is higher than the bottom knee, or sometimes the top knee, then your hips are going to release, the knees will go down. So that's why another reason why we elevate the hips. Then our work here now is to breathe, open to a bigger energy. Place your hands on the soles of your feet. Hug your muscles in toward the middle. Inner rotate your thighs, stick your butt back. Draw your tailbone in, belly in and up. And then from your pelvis, just push out through your feet and push your hands to your feet, but your feet into your hands. This action is what starts to separate the sitting bones. The muscles all around, the external hip rotators, especially the piriformis muscles on the sides, start to expand. Because when you push your feet, your bones are going like this. You push your feet and the sitting bones separate apart. And you see already my right knee is almost all the way down, but it started here. And now it's almost all the way down. So just keep your breath flowing. Now, pull your tailbone in. And if you want a little more fire, that tailbone is, you strike the match. Belly in, and then fold forward. You might have steam coming out your ears, so you can always back up as needed. And then once you folded forward from your pelvic core, push your shins, the whole shin assembly here, knees and all, forward isometrically. And when you do that, your femurs lengthen, the thigh bone, they start to get long, and your hips start to release even more. Breathe. In each breath, there's more Agni, more fire. This is the fire that purifies. And we can think of, we're going to use this fire to help us release what's no longer needed, to let go of what's in the way. Very good. Root down through your hips and inhale. Come back up. Very good. That's Agnistambhasana. Now we have the other side. So switch it out. Right shin on the bottom, parallel to the long edge of your mat, and left heel. We can try to get the ankle directly above the knee. I will note about sickling of the ankle. So you want to be able to flex your feet and then press the little toe edges of both feet down into the floor. That's going to give a kind of rotation in the shin that actually makes the ankle have an even stretch on the inner and outer ankle. Otherwise, the sickling foot, we see this a lot in lotus pose, half lotus pose, is that the ankle curves and the foot looks more like a banana. Okay, and that's excessive strain on the outer ankle. So flex, push out through the big toe ball mounds, press the little toe edge of both feet, little toe edges, down into the floor. That engages your shins. Now manually inner rotate the left thigh. You can try inner rotating the right thigh, but there's too much pressure on it because of the weight of the left leg. So that's why we just do the front. Pull your tailbone in, hands and soles of the feet. From your pelvis now, just push your feet into your hands. Take note of where your left knee started. And with conscious breathing, and with each exhalation, see how much more you can let go. Remember, little toes toward the floor. Feet are flexed. Push, and try to push the big toe ball mounds more into the hands. That will produce a sensation in the sitting bones. You'll feel the pelvic floor start to push apart. The sitting bones push apart. And you'll feel the fire of the stretch in the hips. And I know some of you want more fire, a little bit of pyromaniacs out there. Tailbone in, and then fold. Keep the breath steady so that the heat stays steady. And then push your feet into your hands isometrically, and from your pelvic core, push straight out through the knees and the shins. So you extend your shins, your knees, your thighs forward isometrically. And breathe. You can lengthen your side ribs, take the head of your arm bones back as well. And enjoy as much as you can. It's not a very comfortable pose, but it's how the hips will feel after. Okay, inhale, come up. Uncross. Come up into standing. You just got to try your new hips out and take a few steps forward and back on your mat. So there's a little bit more of a glide. Now come down into child's pose. Big toes touch, knees a little wider. This will further soothe the hips from the stretch we just did. Take at least 2 deep breaths. Then slowly come up onto all fours, step back a little bit, come into downward dog pose and root the inner edges of your heels toward the floor. Inner thighs go back. And notice how much deeper your downward dog pose is because you've opened your hips and the legs. Exhale, bend your knees, come down, come back to a seated position. Take a comfortable cross-legged seated position and observe the difference here, how much more ease there is. And you may even feel your sitting bones have more weight to them. Pelvic floor is more relaxed, maybe more open, and just everything feels more comfortable. Join your index fingers and thumbs, palms down. From your pelvis now, root your sitting bones deeper into the earth and allow the rebound to lift your spine. Take the head of your arm bones back. Extend from the pelvis to the earth and then from the pelvis straight up through the very top of the head. Let's grow the whole spine long now. Close your eyes, sense and feel the heat from the Agnistambhasana pose, this fire log effect. Let that heat travel all the way up to your heart, to your throat, to the third eye, between the 2 eyes, and crown of the head. Imagine this central channel, this line of the spine from earth to sky, heated up, open, cleansed, and clear. Close your eyes, draw deep inside, and enjoy the after effect of the purification of the fire, this amazing element that is free from the confines of gravity. Fire has figured out how to attain freedom. It's the first element that goes up. It burns away whatever is no longer needed, but can never burn itself. Dwell in the warmth of the fire in your heart. Let's offer the light from this fire out into the universe. Sourced from the fire within, bring your palms together in front of your heart. And let's take a breath and chant Om. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for Asana Spotlight. Hope you enjoyed it. For more online courses, go to ashayayoga.com. Hope to see you on the mat soon. Thank you.